Alright, hello everybody, you know me, my name is Justin Coleman, and I'm a student at Western Carolina University. I've been going there for about 2 years. I'm about to be done with my 4-year degree in criminal justice, and that's in about 5 weeks. One of my last classes is COM 201, and I was given an assignment to give a persuasive speech, which is self-explanatory, just a speech. The idea is to persuade people to maybe teach somebody an idea, an opinion of mine, and see if I can get you guys to believe in it like I do. With that being said, I chose to talk about the Second Amendment. It's a controversial topic these days, which is, it's a huge one with all the school shootings and all that. Everybody's trying to pass all this anti-gun laws and all that. And I believe that we are far worse off in this country if we don't have guns. I have a background with firearms, lots of it. I was in the Marine Corps for 4 years, and I've also been a police officer for the last 8 years. So I've got a lot of background, a lot of training with firearms. First, I want to talk about a bunch of anti-gun stuff, all these myths that people are creating about guns. It's just not true. First one, people believe that if you don't have guns, your suicide rate's going to drop. It's not true. Guns are a tool. They're used in suicides. It's a very unfortunate situation, but it's just a tool. The person, if they want to die, they'll find a way to kill themselves. It's sad. We need to start looking at more of the person and not the weapon that they're using to commit the suicide. Another one is accidental deaths. This is a really sad one. People who mistreat firearms, don't use them right. You know, sometimes innocent bystanders do get killed with firearms accidents. Yes, getting rid of guns would stop that. But with the right training, proper training, you can avoid most of that. Once again, it's usually the individual's mistake, not the firearm itself. So my next is homicides. That's a huge one too. With all the homicide rates in big cities, people are blaming it on the guns. Once again, if somebody wants to hurt somebody, they will do it. The gun is just the tool they're choosing to use. You look at Chicago. Chicago's got the highest homicide rate in all of the US, but they also have some of the strictest gun laws. They pass all these laws, try and pass all this legislation, making it harder to buy guns and own guns in Chicago, but yet their homicide rates are high. This is because criminals will own firearms, whether the laws are passed or not. Their guns are not legal, they're usually stolen or something like that, so the gun laws just don't matter in that sense. Mass shootings, school shootings such as Sandy Hook and all that, that's about as sad as it gets. It's horrible, and guns, once again, are being used when this happens. Once again, the gun is the tool. The person doing the killing is the individual that's shooting up schools. Can't blame the guns, you gotta blame the person. We need to look at the people, not the guns. I have an example, the Bath School Massacre in 1927. 45 people were killed. 41 of them, I believe, were students, ages 7 to 14 years old. The rest were teachers. This is 1927, long time before Columbine, long time before Sandy Hook, Virginia Tech, all that. And I think it's the deadliest school shooting, or deadliest school massacre in history. It wasn't even a gun, it was a bomb. Put a bomb in a basement, blew up the school. So regardless of whether you have guns or not, the massacres are still gonna happen. You can't blame the guns, you gotta blame the people. You just can't keep taking guns away from law-abiding citizens because somebody else is doing something bad with it. And about the biggest myth that there is right now is the gun show loophole. We've heard it, it doesn't exist, it's not true. Gun shows, or the myth is that you go to a gun show and you can buy any gun you want, and they don't even do background checks, they don't check your age, anything like that. It's just not true. People who sell at gun shows have to have the same FFL, Federal Firearms License, that any gun dealer has to have. They still have to abide by the laws that the state that they're in has. They still have to do the same background checks. You still can't purchase handguns until you're 21, rifles until you're 18. Still can't be a convicted felon. Nothing changes. So that's a huge myth. All right, which brings me to my next topic, home defense. If the government passes laws where guns are taken away from law-abiding citizens, that's going to make all law-abiding citizens vulnerable to be attacked. As soon as the bad people hear that good people don't have guns, they're not going to be afraid to attack anybody. It's going to be free range on us. So you have to be able to defend yourself. You know, for example, somebody breaks in your house at 3 o'clock in the morning, they're there to harm you. They know you don't have a gun. They're not afraid to come in because they're armed and you're not. They don't care. So they will come in, and it'll just make, they'll be less scared to break into your door. So, once again, I mean, at least when you're a gun owner and somebody's coming around the other side of that door and they know that there's somebody on the other side that might be prepared to protect themselves, that will limit the amount that they are willing to break into houses or try to hurt people. So you can't take the guns away from the law-abiding citizens. Once again, the bad guys will still have them. All right, now national security. I was in the Marine Corps, huge, big believer in the military, love them, but they are our first line of defense. Their job is to protect this nation, and of course they use firearms to do so. But, for instance, China's got a slightly larger military than we do. What if, we all know that there's a lot of attacks planned on the U.S. People don't like the U.S. So we're outside countries. There's always threats from North Korea. There's been recent threats from Russia. China's usually a little unstable. If they ever wanted to plan an attack on us, our military is 1.3 million strong, active duty. If they can penetrate our active duty military, if the citizens don't have guns, now we are sitting ducks. So other than the military, gun owners are the second line of defense for this country. You look in Revolutionary War, you had citizens of our colonies who wanted to fight back against the British. If they didn't have guns, we would be British. We wouldn't be Americans. Because they had guns, they were able to form militias, fight back. In our country, there's approximately 75 million gun owners. And between the 75 million gun owners, there's about 270 million guns. That's a lot more than taking down a military. That's a huge army that you would have to fight back if anybody were to attack us. As soon as those same countries get wind that the U.S. citizens don't have guns, we are more prone to attacks. That is another safety net we have to keep people from attacking us and having large scale operations against us. We just have to be gun owners. To me, it's a necessity. And not just that, we all know that our economy is unstable. We are prone to attacks, like I said, and not just military attacks, cyber attacks. We've been getting wind of reports of China hacking into our power grids, all that. If anybody can shut us down at any time, our economy will collapse. We will collapse. We won't be grocery shopping at stores. We won't be buying food like we do now. You'll have to survive. I know it may be a long shot that ever happens, but it could happen. Rifles are used for hunting. If we didn't have these tools to hunt, we're out there with sticks, we're out there with knives. It just doesn't make sense. You need the weapons to be able to survive if something like that were to happen. You gotta be able to hunt. To me, it's extremely important. It's not just self-defense, it's also just survival. Now, with that being said, I do believe that there is reform that needs to happen when it comes to owning firearms or people who violate the rights or violate the laws when it comes to having firearms. I think that people who violate, there needs to be harsher punishments. I mean, you go out there and you're robbing people, you're a convicted felon caught with a gun, and I mean, as a cop, I've seen it. Did an armed robbery, did 5 years in prison, come out, get caught with another gun, and you get probation. If you're gonna violate that law, there should be harsher punishments. The criminals need to be targeted, not the law-abiding citizens. And even further on that, training. Even if, there are some gun owners who go buy a gun, never fired one before, but purchase a gun and have it in their house for home defense. There needs to be some training. We need to have people who know how to use these weapons, know how to keep them away from their kids and all that. So there has to be some reform, but the answer is not to take them away from us. There has to be something changed to make us better and more proficient with the firearms, and people who violate to, maybe do prison time or maybe whatever, they need harsher penalties, but the answer is not to take them away from us. All right, so in conclusion, we need to be responsible. We need to follow the laws. We also need to remember that creating laws do not stop the criminals. So there's no sense in making it harder for us to own firearms. And as long as they pass laws, the only people that the firearms are taken away from are the law-abiding citizens. All right, any questions? No? I appreciate it.
Okay.